consume and drive demand for the things that China produces, right? So where's our responsibility in that?
Yes.
Having lived in these countries, like the reality on the ground is much different from what we experience here. We go and we judge other countries by the lens that we see here, that it's so easy, like why don't you do this, and regulations for that, and it isn't that easy, right? And at the end of the day, we have to look at ourselves, and again, this goes back to consumerism. You can't do both: demand their resources and demand their cheap products and services, and also point your finger when something goes wrong.
All right, then let's just jump on the populist bandwagon. Do you think the populist right is going to exploit this by saying that it was free movement of labor or tourism or no borders or globalization or interconnectedness that allowed the virus to spread at this rate, and that we have to basically go back to times where border control becomes important, when labor is limited, people are limited in their movement? Are we shutting up? Are we increasing restrictions to free movement?
Yeah, I mean, definitely they're going to exploit it because it's in their best interest to do so. I mean, it's always in the best interest of people in power to make sure that we're all continually blaming each other for everything. I don't think that's a problem. I mean, if you look at countries that are doing a great job of containing this, and Singapore, the number one reason is because after the last one, they did a better job of preparing themselves for the next one, and before that, they did a better job, right? Which we don't do that here in this country because, well, not in our country, sorry, in the U.S.
Yeah.
Because they're so poorly equipped in terms of healthcare for Medicare for all, and healthcare and sick leave, and all of the things that are important to contain something from spreading like COVID-19 is spreading. So, yes, absolutely, the populist right is going to exploit this. But I think it's the job of all of us to educate ourselves and make sure that we understand that this isn't really a migration problem.
Do you think that in times of misinformation and fake news, educating people with increased anxiety is something that is doable? Yeah, right, because it's now we are facing higher levels of anxiety, and also racism and COVID-19, right? There is a significant rise in racism against the Asian community with COVID-19 that is driven by ignorance and misinformation, et cetera, et cetera. How are we going to, fight that?
You know what? Nothing drives racism. Racism drives everything. You know what I mean? Like you're looking for an excuse. If you're going to look for an excuse to hate somebody else based on the color of their skin or their faith or how they look, you're going to find any reason to do that. There's a funny meme that went around, is like, all the people who stopped going to Chinatown to eat should also stop eating Italian food, right? But you don't see anybody giving up pizza and pasta, right? So, if you truly want to understand racism and bigotry, it never has anything to do with these kinds of things. It's if it was actually that complex and people had really gave it that much thought, they wouldn't be bigots to begin with.